Hi, boys and girls, and welcome to the lesson, Adding and Subtracting Mixed Numbers. This is lesson 6.6, and our goal is to add and subtract mixed numbers. You want to make sure that you're already able to add and subtract basic fractions, which are from our previous lessons, and that you can add and subtract numbers and decimals, which are from previous lessons, and some of that is from years past. Now, we need to problem solve. We will attend to precision as usual, and we will also look for and make use of repeated reasoning. Let's get started. When we're adding and subtracting fractions, that'll usually be in a real world situation. That's why we have problems listed here, because when you're adding and subtracting fractions, very rarely will someone just ask you to add and subtract or to add and subtract just a random fraction. It'll always be in a situation. For example, Gwen ran 4 3/8 miles on Monday. Emilia ran 3 1/4 miles the same day. So that means it was Monday. How many more miles did Gwen run than Emilia? I know I'm making a comparison because I see the word than. I also know I'm making a comparison because I see many more. So I need to know how much more Gwen did than Emilia. That lets me know that I'm going to subtract what Emilia has done from what Gwen has done. And that will let me know what the difference is. Now that I know how to set up my equation, now I'm going to use the numbers. 4 3/8 minus 3 1/4 equals blank, because we don't know. What we need to do is make sure that our fractions have common denominators. So step 1 is to find a common denominator. And if you're thinking that the least common denominator is 8, you are correct. So the first fraction is going to stay the same. The second one, we are trying to find a fraction that is equal to 1/4. Or we could also say we're looking for an equivalent fraction. And we've learned how to do that. How did we get from 4 to 8? Well, we multiplied by 2. So we have to multiply the numerator by 2. That means that 1/4 is equal to 2/8. So our equivalent fraction is 2/8. Why are we doing that? Because it's easier to subtract and it's better to subtract if we have common denominators. Now, my next step is to first subtract the whole numbers. 4 minus 3, you are correct, is 1. And now we're going to subtract only the numerators because the denominators are the same, or the denominators are common. Now 3 minus 2 is 1. So our answer is 1 1/8 miles. We're going to write our answer here. Gwen ran 1 1/8 miles. We're going to use the word miles because it's more than 1 mile. More than Emilia. Our next problem, we're going to do this one together. What should we do first? Think it in your mind. Right. We should read the problem, circle the important information, and underline the question. Giovanni has 2 3/5 grams of gold, and Nathan has 3 2/10 grams of gold. How much gold do the boys have in all? I need to add what Giovanni has to what Nathan has, and that's going to give us a sum, or the answer. Now that I've set up my equation or my expression, I can write it with numbers. First, we're going to add, or actually first we need to find common denominators. So let's rewrite this with common denominators. Well, we know that the least common denominator is 10. So the second one will stay the same, and the first one, we multiplied 5 times 2, and we got 10. So then 3 times 2 is, you are correct, it is 6. Now we can add our fractions and our whole numbers. First, start with the whole numbers. 2 plus 3, which is 5. And now we will add the numerators, 6 and 2, which is 8. So the answer is, together, the boys have 5 8/10 grams of gold. Excellent. Now it is your turn. You will notice that I've given you 2 problems. The first one is an operation and the second one is an operation. Make sure you answer them both. Now's a good time to pause the video. Okay, here are the answers. We have 8 5/8 as the answer to number 1. 8 5/8 ounces in all. And for number 2, we have 2 1/8 more ounces on Monday than Tuesday. Check your answers. Try to see where you went wrong. Is it possible that you forgot to find a common denominator? Did you find the correct equivalent fraction? Is it possible that you may have forgotten what numbers to add and subtract? Did you accidentally subtract the denominator? There are many things that could have gone wrong. So take a look at your problem, try to figure out what you did incorrectly. And if you have questions about this lesson, write them down. And finally, double check your scale, and we will see you tomorrow.